Brendan Rodgers has been blasted in the recent days for his comments after the game against Motherwell, but Chris Sutton has came to his defence. And before we go any further, to anyone commenting, right, that Fog Football is woke for simply discussing this matter in Scottish football, they clearly don't listen to the videos, because we have clearly said, and I've said it earlier, if you want to check out the video where they referred to Brendan Rodgers as a dinosaur, I clearly said in it that he shouldn't have to apologise. And it's just a simple case of Celtic fans are going to defend their manager. Even though I've seen on Twitter like 20-minute Tims say that Brendan Rodgers should apologise and that what he said was wrong. But if this happened to Clement, the exact same Celtic fans defending Rodgers, right, would be bashing Clement, and see the exact same Rangers fans that are bashing Rodgers, if it happened to Clement, would be defending Clement. That's just rivalries, and I've seen someone comment earlier like saying like as much as they hate Celtic and hate Rodgers, they have to defend him here, and I agree. And as Chris Sutton will go on to explain, I discussed it earlier. I think it's a simple case that Brendan Rodgers is under pressure, and Chris Sutton has labelled him as rattled and cranky, but not sexist, sorry. And we'll go into this article, but yeah, for people saying that we're woke, we simply put up a poll, right, discussing whether it was out of order or not. So yeah, it's a talking point in Scottish football. It's gonna. We have to talk about it. We don't literally leave anything off the table. There's a lot of YouTubers out here, right, that cover Scottish football, and they're afraid to talk about certain subjects. But see us, we'll cover everything. And to the guy that said, "Why are you talking about Celtic, the Green Brigade destroying Fir Park, and you didn't talk about Hibs?" We made plenty of fids about Hibs when they went to Ibrox and they destroyed the away seats at Ibrox, and ripped like 66 all over the chairs, the seats, whatever you want to call them. So, enough of this, you're woke and you don't cover certain aspects. See, on the topic of Scottish football, Fog Football covers everything. There's a lot of people that talk about our game and gloss over and don't even acknowledge 10%. Well, I say 10%, they don't even acknowledge like 95% of what goes on. What do we not talk about? Anything in Scottish football we discuss, doesn't matter how controversial it is, alright? So this is the channel, and do not pretend that we're woke, because we're not woke, alright? Now see, if you are woke, you're still welcome to comment, because guess what? We believe in democracy. Everybody's got a price. Opinion. That was a wee $1 million man reference there, but anyway, Brendan Rodgers, Chris Sutton's defending him, and like I said, he's labelled him as rattled and cranky, and I'm going to agree with him, man. I think he is. I think he's absolutely under pressure, because you see at the start of the season, "Oh, see you, mate, now it's story this, story that." But let's see what Chris Sutton has said. He said he's been since slammed for apparent sexism, with the Scottish Feminist Network calling him a dinosaur, but Sutton has gone to bat for the Northern Irishman, claiming it's just the way he speaks, and has heard him call male reporters boy and lad after interviews. Again, right, that is exactly the case here, right? See if this was, a reporter that's like 30 years younger than Rodgers, right? I know Rodgers is he 50? Say that the reporter's 20 years younger than him. More often than not, right, if someone's younger than you will refer to them in like the sense of like lass, boy, girl. That's just like a normal way of speaking, right? But obviously, because of feminism and all that stuff in the modern world, it's 2024. Brendan Rodgers shouldn't have to say sorry for this. He shouldn't. And I've never actually heard him say boy or lad before, but I'm willing to bet he said it, right? And I've never heard him say girl before, like in the context that he said it on Sunday. But as Sutton said, he would have. See if you, I can't remember off the top of my head, but see if you go back and listen to any Brendan Rodgers interview, right? I'm sure he said lad or boy before, but of course he said it about a woman, and that's what's made them blow up. And of course, in recent months and weeks, you've had the likes of Joey Barton saying things about that, and obviously women's football is a very hot topic in today's day and age. But this is what he said, to go into what he said. He said, "I work up here a lot and I understand the environment. Up here, I think Brendan is a manager under pressure. There's a title race on at the moment in time, and I think he'd maybe wake up this morning and accept that maybe he made a misstep. But some of the stuff I've seen online about it, it's just casual sexism. I don't think that Jane Lewis, and actually it was a really good question about the narrative, and I'll come to that, but she's not taking any offence. I went to interview Brendan for Sky at the start of the season and on a couple of occasions called me lad. That's his terminology. After most press conferences, you hear him say to some of my press guys, good man, good lad, whatever. Yeah, as Sutton says. And also, see Jane Lewis, right? She didn't take any offence to it, right? Being called good girl. And I'm not saying in every instance in the world, if the person who is the victim doesn't take offence to it, doesn't make it, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not like she broke down in tears after and Brendan Rodgers stormed off with, 11-foot nose or something at the end of the day. It's been completely blown out of proportion by the media, but we knew this would happen. Like, the fact that you've got all these, like, feminist group demanding that Brendan Rodgers comes out and apologise. Like, there's bigger fish to fry than this remark that he made. It's just a guy that's simply under pressure, man. He wanted out of the interview and he finally got her to, like, stop asking him the question. He's like, oh, good girl, finally can be left alone. He didn't mean anything by it, but yet, here, see Rangers fans, I see ones that are throwing Brendan Rodgers under the bus for this. I get it. It's the rivalry. You feel like everything that Celtic do, right, is wrong and you have to be completely against it. But, if you live in, and it's vice versa for Celtic, right? If you live in the real world, and I'm not saying that you can't hate some things that your rivals hate, because of course you do. That's the whole part of a rivalry. But it doesn't mean meltdown. Right? If Celtic turned around and said that water ain't, or water is wet, Rangers fans would disagree. Some Rangers fans would. And if if Rangers fans said water is wet, some Celtic fans are going to disagree. That's just the nature of the rivalry, right? I'm not really seeing Hearts fans or anybody like that coming out and calling out Brendan Rodgers. And yeah, there is quite a few Celtic news, like 20-minute Tims, that are saying that he should come out and apologise, but there doesn't need to be a big deal of it. But that's probably them just saving face, because guess what, guys? It's 2024. Some things you're just not really supposed to say, even though it wasn't even bad in my eyes. He just wanted to end the interview, and because he got her to stop talking, he said this. And if it was a guy who was 25 or 30, he probably would have said good boy or good lad. Does it mean anything by it? Absolutely not. And apparently Eamon Holmes has even defended Brendan Rodgers. It's a joke. Right, the world is going down the shitter. We need to accept it. And, it's times like this where I genuinely think rivalry almost needs to be put aside, as someone commented earlier, and these sort of things need to be getting called out. I mean, come on. Like, we cannot be throwing a manager under the bus for saying this, or else we are going into dangerous times of where they'll be afraid to even open their mouth. But anyway, guys, leave your thoughts down below. And until next time, that's it for Fog Football, and peace.